Greetings, physical, rhythmic, natural Taurus. My name is Eliane Nicole. I'm an astrologer and tarot card reader, and now I'm going to do the December 2020 forecast for the sign of Taurus. I'm going to do a tarot reading in the first half of the video, and in the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about broad strokes of some of the planetary transits that are happening in the month of December. And I recommend that you watch the videos for your sun and rising sign. If you don't know your rising sign, definitely contact me to have your chart done. Everyone should have their chart done at least once in life. It's a wonderful tool for self-awareness and self-discovery. But in the meantime and in between time, watching the videos here can give you a little idea of what to expect in the coming month. As we enter the month of December, Taurus, the Nine of Pentacles reverse. So we see that there might be a big financial expenditure that's happening at that time, and you are covered by the Nine of Swords reverse. So it looks like you are alleviating some kind of worry or anxiety that you had. And crossed by the Queen of Swords. And so there's a woman who needs to make a decision in the month of December. The basis of the situation is the Hierophant reverse. This is about the breaking of a commitment, or separating maybe from an institution, or separating from a person who's related to an institution. That could be a doctor, a teacher, a therapist, or someone in a governmental institution or institution of marriage even. What's leaving? An old friend. What could come into being around mid-month? You look very strong, Taurus. What will come into being? The Empress reverse. This looks like a woman who might be feeling in a rut around mid-month. She could either be feeling maybe creatively stuck, or for people who are trying to get pregnant, this might be frustrated because it's not happening around this time. Anything having to do with the creative principle maybe being blocked for the moment around mid-month. Fears or insecurities, the Chariot. This has to do with moving forward, progress. It could have to do with a literal trip or journey that you're feeling insecure about. Others see you as the Two of Wands reverse. So it looks like there's someone around you who's going to be exposing themselves to you, revealing themselves to you in some way. You might be seeing a part of them that you hadn't seen before. And positive feelings, the Three of Swords. So towards the end of December, it looks like there might be heartbreak of some kind, maybe the pain of loss or separation, or maybe it's just the pain of kind of putting together everything that's happened in 2020, but you feel very positive about it. I think that there's hope and vision for the future still. And then finally is the Six of Wands reversed, and at the end of the month, I think that you're just very tired and reflective by the end of the year, and probably really wanting to stay home and be cozy. It's going to be the Cancer full moon. And so now I'm going to talk a little bit about the planetary transits. December 1st, Mercury enters Sagittarius. When Mercury enters Sagittarius, it will be going from your 7th house of relationships to your 8th house. So while Mercury is in Sagittarius, there's a lot of more big picture communication and thinking about long range goals. 8th house stuff could be wills, inheritances, debts, loans, other people's money kind of stuff. You might be setting some big picture goals around that from around the 1st to the 20th. It could also be long-term, for those who are married, long-term strategy and goals that you're setting with your spouse about their finances and financial things. December 7th, Pallas Athene moves into Aquarius. When Pallas Athene moves into Aquarius, she will be there from December 7th until March 7th. Whereas, did I mention Mercury and Sagittarius moved into your 8th house? I think I mentioned that. I want to make sure I'm talking about the houses in these videos. Pallas Athene will be moving into your 10th house. So this is going to give you vision and strategy around your career and attainment, Taurus. And for those who don't have a career, this might have to do with whatever your calling is in the world. It could have to do with your reputation. And for some, it has to do with your father. It's the 10th house. And so Pallas Athene moving in there in Aquarius is very strategic, very smart about the future. And, for the collective, I believe during this time, we're going to see big advances in science, as well as, advances in and strategies for the good of the whole. That's very Aquarian, for the people. And so, Pallas Athene was with that whole Capricorn cluster for most of 2020, retrograde for, those summer months. And she was the first one to go direct. And so this is an exciting time of strategy and progress and great minds thinking about, how to innovate for the future. December 14th is the new moon and total solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And again, this is going to be in the 8th house for Taurus. So this is a very deep house. This is a house about, you should be setting intentions at this time around 8th house issues. 8th house issues concern, your spouse's money and finances, wills, inheritances, loans, debts, investments, all of those kinds of things. So you should set intentions around that. The 8th house also rules death, elimination, transformation. So anything we need to let go of in our life, you should set intentions around that at this new moon of Sagittarius. And then Sagittarius is all about, faith and higher truth, travel, exploration, cross-cultural experiences. So any intentions you want to set around any of those themes will also be really great at this time. December 15th, Venus moves into Sagittarius. So everything for Taurus, Venus moving into Sagittarius also moves into your 8th house. So this is a very 8th house time for you. I encourage you to call me for a reading, because the 8th house is one of the deeper, darker houses, and it means when there's a lot going on in your 8th house, it means that it is a very deeply transformational time for you. Sometimes 8th house emphasis can mean things are coming up from the depths to be dealt with. When there's a lot of 8th house stuff going on, it's a really good time for psychoanalysis and psychotherapy, those kinds of things, digging into the depths. It could be a time where, things rise to the surface. What can I say, that are to be dealt with? So it's a great time for a reading. Let's see, December 15th, Chiron is going direct in Aries. And that Chiron in Aries is going to be in your 12th house. Again, this is indicating the 12th house for Taurus is the house for everyone. It's the house of hidden karma. Having Chiron in there going direct means that something may come up. Again, there's another theme about deep wounds from the past. It could be someone in your life who's deeply wounded, who comes into significant play for you to be somehow helping them at this time. So it could be your own wound or the wound of another outside of you. It can play either way, but in general, for the collective, it's a time where a mass healing needs to take place. And so we're going to run into that theme in our personal lives in different ways. And Chiron can be the healer. So this is an important time for healers. The world needs us. But it's also a time where the wounded are going to be very stirred up, and stuff will be coming up for them that there's going to be a bigger story about in 2021, which I will talk about in my next set of videos for the entire year overview for each of the signs. So look out for that. But and then it's also Chiron also rules the afflictor, so people who, are the people who hurt people will also be stimulated this time. So it's an important time around healing energy and what side of it, whichever side of it you stand on. December 16th, Saturn's entering Aquarius. Saturn has been, and then Chiron for you, we talked about it in the 12th house, blind spots. Chiron, let me see, December 16th, Saturn is moving into Aquarius. When Saturn moves into Aquarius, it will be moving into your, oh my gosh, I think that it'll be moving into your 10th house of career and attainment. And I just got a little bit nervous that I messed that one up. And so again, we're focusing on, this is a time for Taurus where, you could be taking on more responsibilities in the workplace. You could be taking on a leadership role in the workplace, more commitments at work. For those who have a poorly afflicted Saturn situation, and you have to look at the Saturn in your natal chart to get the best idea of this, you could be feeling limited with work during this transit. You could be feeling restricted in boundaries. Saturn is the great disciplinarian. He's the great teacher. And so, but whenever he makes a shift, it's a 2.5-year transit. So again, this is a good time to get a reading to look at what this next 2.5 years will be, because Saturn will be transiting that 10th house for you of career and attainment until March 7th, 2023. December 18th, Juno is entering Sagittarius, and Juno is the asteroid of marriage and commitment, entering Sagittarius. And this is a really interesting transit to look at this time. I think in light of what we've been through as a collective in 2020, people are changing their view of what the ideal relationship is. And this Juno in Sagittarius is a big part of this, and we're going to see this going into 2021. I don't want to get ahead of myself in talking about 2021 because I'm going to do a separate set of videos that are just looking, for each of the signs at the year overview. So I'll talk more about Juno in that context, but I want to start it here by saying that there's going to be new concepts of commitment are going to be explored. Our definition of what monogamy is may be expanding as a collective, maybe not as structured. And there's going to be, there's going to be theoretical ideas about what the ideal relationship is, but maybe we're changing what that ideal is. Remember, the South Node is also in Sagittarius, the transiting South Node, since May of 2020. So we're letting go of old ideas, old philosophical constructs that no longer serve us. And while Sagittarius mostly, we relate to, religion and spirituality and stuff, with this Juno and Sagittarius, it's like, it looks like next year, this time, over this whole entire transit, we are going to be letting go of collectively of old constructs about what the ideal relationship looks like and putting together a new ideal. And couples will be exploring that together who are already married, setting themselves on a new ideal for their relationship, or for something bigger than themselves that they want to aim for in their relationship. For those who are single, they will be reformulating an ideal of what their perfect relationship is. And for some within relationships, you're going to be seeing freedom of one or both partners becoming a really important theme in the forefront. So, Sagittarius is a wanderer. It can have a wandering eye. It can even be the philanderer if poorly afflicted. So these are all things that are going to be explored while Juno is transiting. And Juno will be doing that transit until there's going to be a retrograde in 2021, but it's mainly until the end of the year. So this is a big theme for marriages. December 19th, Jupiter is moving into Aquarius. So as Jupiter moves into Aquarius, Jupiter has been in its fall in Capricorn for the past year. And so this is a more dignified position for Jupiter. Jupiter's more happy in Aquarius than it was in Capricorn. So in general, for the collective, this is going to be a better time, a breath of fresh air. We're going to see expansion in progressive ideals, expansion in humanitarian ideals, expansion in social systems that benefit the whole. We're going to see expanded awareness around LGBTQ issues. We're going to see, expansion in scientific research and innovation. Big improvements. These are all Jupiterian things put together with the Aquarian things that I'm talking about. And I will be doing some separate winter solstice stuff that we'll go into more detail about that. But December 20th, Mercury moves into Capricorn. This is a very business-minded Mercury. Mercury is the planet of our intellect, how we think, how we write, how we speak, how we listen. In Capricorn, this is pragmatic, it's realistic, it is, conservative in speech, discerning with words. This is a great time to write a business plan for the new year. It will be there through the end of the year. And through January 8th, so I suggest between the 20th to January 8th, work on your business plan, and then, or through till the new moon of Capricorn, really, in January. And December 21st, the sun moves into Capricorn, where it will be until January 19th. So again, when the sun is in Capricorn, this highlights, hard work, discipline, traditional values, realism, pragmatism. These are the qualities that are highlighted by the Capricorn sun. And then December 21st is the Great Conjunction. And the Great Conjunction is happening, again, for you, it's happening in your house of career and attainment, the 10th house. So the 10th house becomes a very important area for Taurus for the next 20-year cycle. And it's also for humanity kicking off a new 200-year cycle. We're starting a new air era when we've been in an earth era for the past 200 years. And but yeah, so great time for a reading. Again, kicking off a new 20-year cycle for you. This is in the 10th house. This is the house of career and attainment. So you are going to be in this next year really taking on a lot of more responsibility or commitment in that area, or you may be experiencing restrictions or boundaries in that area. And so that's why I encourage you to get a reading so you can set the tone for this 20-year cycle in the best possible way and really wield the energy. And then December 29th is the full moon in Cancer. And the full moon in Cancer will be happening in your third house of communication. And so it will be highlighting that area for you, your voice, how you speak, how you write, how you think. It will also be possibly highlighting issues with siblings or issues with your neighbors will be illuminated around this time. And so that's the end of the month. In general, for the collective, this full moon is forming a trine to Uranus, so that brings some surprise energy or plot twist energy. It's also a sextile Ceres and trine the black moon Lilith. So, we see a lot of feminine energy is really important as we come to the end of the year. I believe that this full moon is really illuminating even more so the rise of the divine feminine that has been slowly happening over time, but you'll just see as the 20s go on, it's like feminine leadership and power is what this is about. And it will be happening not only for the collective, but within our communities, within our homes. There's a changing of the guard that's happening at this time in more ways than one. Anyway, thank you for joining me, Taurus. If you like this video, give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram at astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. There I keep the conversation going that I've started here and start filling in the details as things are unfolding, and I put it in stories, the day-to-day things, and I put the planetary stuff in the feed. And yeah, please share this video with other Tauruses that you know. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. And please have a wonderful, wonderful December.